So today, Fujifilm did something I wasn't expecting. Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Pal to Tech. For the better part of this year, some of Fujifilm's cameras have been experiencing autofocus issues, particularly when AFC has been used. I've talked about this before on this channel, and a number of Fujifilm users have also weighed in on the issue. I think the problem is twofold. First, the AFC issues seem to have been caused by a problematic firmware update. And the second issue, and the one that I personally on this channel have been the most frustrated with, is the very little communication coming from Fujifilm headquarters about this very issue. However, today, in a particularly surprising video that I just saw, Fujifilm directly spoke on this very issue. It's a 3.5-minute video with a single speaker against a simple background. His name is Yuji Garashi, and he is the divisional manager for Fujifilm's professional imaging group. He's actually a very nice guy, and I met him once at a Fuji event in New York. So he goes over 3 topics: the GFX 2024 Challenge Grant Program, a new Fujifilm Summit happening on October 14th, and finally, he does address the autofocus performance. I can't show any clips here because the loud background music behind his talking may get this channel copyright struck. So instead, let me just now share with you exactly what he said about the issue. Recently, we've received comments, especially on autofocus, to improve the performance. In response, we are developing a new firmware for XH2S, XH2, and GFX 102. This update enhances subject tracking stability when shooting video. He then ends the topic by saying, we're further considering further firmware enhancements, so stay tuned. So I've got a few thoughts on this. First, and most importantly, the autofocus issues have also been affecting the other X series cameras as well. Not all of them, but some of them, particularly from what I'm hearing, the X-T5, XS20, and X106. While I understand maybe the need or urgency to address the more expensive, higher-end cameras first, it is very important that the firmware and the autofocus issues on the other affected X cameras also be addressed as soon as possible. Secondly, I actually love the fact that he mentioned recently we've received comments, especially on autofocus to improve the performance, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, wasn't it just last week that I said there was a firmware update that came out that did improve autofocus more? Maybe it wasn't where it ultimately should be, but it was better than it was before. And then there was a firmware update that came out after that, according to a lot of people, wrecked the autofocus. I'm halfway kidding about that, of course. I mean, there have been many YouTubers and Reddit posters and social media users that have been talking about this. It's not just me. The other interesting part that I noticed in the video was that Fuji dialed down on the fluff. You know, they didn't have that fancy B-roll cutaway and sweeping drone shots and exotic locations. Yuji has spoken many times at Fuji product events and announcements before, but this time he seemed to be talking, and I mean, this is what I noticed, in a more direct and serious tone. I think for him and for the culture of Fujifilm in Japan, there was a little bit of a shift toward a different direction that I would like to see them continue to go. Yeah. Today's announcement was a bit broad, and it only covered some of the affected cameras, but he did get up there and he did directly admit the issue right on camera. And of course, there is a lot we don't know about what's going on behind the scenes over at Fuji headquarters in Japan. I mean, when it comes to firmware, you know, and especially the type of software that can affect multiple camera bodies and lenses, it may very well be that for programming and deployment reasons, maybe they had to start at the GFX and XH series first. I have no idea. Firmware updates are actually a really weird thing in general. I mean, think about it, right? You buy a product, it works great, and then the company reaches their arm out, goes right into your product, does something, and then it kind of pisses people off because there's an invasion aspect of it. You know, get off my camera, right? And you made it worse. It was working before, fine. It's like, say you buy a car, right? From Ford in Detroit, and you take it home and it's working great. And then maybe a year later, Ford releases a firmware update, and now your car cannot drive over 60 miles an hour. that type of thing, is new to products and product development. So again, I'm not sure they really get how much of a problem it can be for the end user when that happens, number one. And number two, even worse, what a problem it can be if there's not good, effective, direct, serious, and immediate communication from the company. Because what can end up happening is that the cavity caused by the problematic firmware update could turn into a root canal, a serious problem with lack of communication. So in the end, I do think that today's announcement was a move forward. It wasn't a huge one, but it was a surprising one that I was pleased to see. To be clear though, Yuji, the autofocus issue on some of the other X cameras are a huge concern to your customers for both video and stills shooting. The bottom line, I think Fuji did take a step forward today in building up some better communication, and that's good. Good communication builds good trust, but you can't just do it once. You need to keep doing what you did today, but do more of it throughout the year with more specifics and maybe a little lower volume on your video's background music, just saying. Anyhow, I will leave a link to that Fujifilm video so you can check it out. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.